just loaded some little cooler bags in my car. And I've got a lot of those frozen little freezer pack things in it to keep things frozen. And I'm doing all this because I'm on my way to go to Smith Angus Farms and pick up some good meat that I ordered. I've been trying really hard this year, this 2024, to try to find as many local sources as I can for food. I now have a neighbor that I buy eggs from. I will pay double what she's asking because I'm so appreciative of her eggs. And I just love being able to call her and say I need some, and I'm buying them like 5 dozen at the time, and we're just building a relationship. And that's the things that I think we need to do right now in our country, no matter where you live, is establish relationships with neighbors, with small farmers, with people that can help you have an access for food should times get really tough. I don't know if people realize we're under a state of emergency here in Louisiana right now because of the terrorist attack down in New Orleans at 3 a.m. in the morning on New Year's Day. It was horrific. The state of emergency is not really affecting us. It's mainly so that the state can access all the government help it needs, can coordinate help and assets through all their channels. You know, it's kind of a just a technical thing. However, it goes to show how quickly you can go from nothing, just living normal life, to being under a state of emergency when you had nothing to do with it, when you hate that it happened, but it happens. And now all of a sudden we're technically under a state of emergency in Louisiana till January 27th. As time rolls out, what that means for us might change. I don't know. I'm not looking for any kind of situation that would prevent my access to food, not like they tried to do during COVID and all that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is life can change overnight. And I read every bit of that emergency declaration because I wanted to make sure what the loopholes were for them to be able to do anything that they might deem necessary that would restrict my freedoms. Right now, I'm confident. We have a good Republican governor. We have a really good Republican attorney general. They are doing this, in my interpretation, for the complete ability to catch all people that might have been involved in this situation in New Orleans. And so there's a lot of details to all that. I just trust that everybody's keeping up with news and knows the things going on. I'm not going to go into that. But it backs up my feelings that I've had for years now, but really accelerating during 2024, even accelerating through our election that went Republican. However, I just know how things are in this political world in America, and I knew that things would get hyped up, ratcheted up, and that we possibly could start having terrorist attacks and things like that, because there are a lot of people that just don't want our country to be run a certain way. They just don't. We have a big military industrial complex that wants us at war. We don't want that anymore. And a lot of things will be ratcheted up to see if we can be whipped into a frenzy to go to these wars. I'm just being honest with you. And we don't want that. So we're fighting against that. One of the ways I have been fighting in my own way is to take control of my life, to not be dependent on stores as much as possible, to not be dependent on the food chain anymore. I learned how quickly that food chain can crumble during COVID. And I have been so blessed to be able to grow a lot of my own food. I have been so blessed to be able to can and put away food. I just have so many things to be thankful for that have helped us be a lot more self-sustaining than I was the entire other part of our marriage up till the last 4 years or so. And I'm so appreciative of the skills I've gotten and the knowledge that I've obtained. But I'm taking those skills and that knowledge and I'm going even more. I'm not in a position of being able to be my own producer. I don't have the property for cows. I don't even really want chickens or anything right now. There's a lot going on in my life. I don't really want to bring in a lot of farm animals to also add to that stress and to my ability to not have mobility when I need to go somewhere and stuff. I'm already so restricted as it is. I don't really want to be the caretaker of a bunch of farm animals. However, I will try my best to find sources for all of those things as close to me as possible. And I have just made it my business, and I hope you make it your business to do the same thing, to find sources close to you that you can develop a relationship with, that you can be able to pretty much get food if needed, if times ever call for it. And for right now, I'm just loading my freezer and things up with things because I want to eat better. I want to know where my food was grown. I want to be able to see the property it was raised on. I want to be able to meet the people that grew the food, that raised the food, fed out the food, and processed the food. That's what I want to know. And I think a lot of people are like that with me. So today I'm going to Smith Angus Farms in Mount Hermon, Louisiana. That's my newest contact that I've made. I made my first order on New Year's Eve. This is the day after New Year's, and I'm going to pick it up today. They don't ship. You have to pick up your order, which is fine. They are, I don't know how many miles from me, 30 to 40 miles from me. I'm not sure. I haven't Googled it or anything. But there's not a red light or a stop sign in between us. I'm going straight there. It's a beautiful country ride. Mount Hermon is in a beautiful area. And I'm going there today on this lovely January 2nd to pick up my order, and I'm so excited. I'll show you when I get home what I got. I just got some of their cheaper cuts because home pasture-raised meat is not cheap. But Richard and I don't need these big cuts of meat anymore. I don't really need, unless my kids are coming over or something, to have these big roasts anymore. We don't need to sit there and eat ribeyes every night just because, you know. So I bought some different cuts like short ribs and the ossobuco cuts that you can make ossobuco out of and stuff. I bought some ground meat, stuff like that. But I'll show you what I got when I get home. And I'm just so excited to be able to find another local producer that are good people. They're good people. And it's important to get to know good people, good producers. So join me today. I'll show you the little pretty ride up to Mount Hermon, and I'll go over with you what I bought when we get home. You don't have to beg me too hard to go to Mount Hermon. It is one of the most beautiful little areas that Richard and I go to when we go on our rides all the time. I get to see all the farming that I like to look at when I'm riding. There's lots of cornfields that I pass during those times of years, soybean fields, all kind of stuff like that. And so the ride to Mount Hermon is always welcome to me. I love it. I'm going to put a little picture of a map in here to show you about where it's located in the state of Louisiana, because it's always just good to have a visual. Louisiana is shaped like a boot, and Mount Hermon is in the toe part of the boot, like I am in the toe part of the boot, but it's in the top of the bottom of the boot. So it's right near the Mississippi state line. Mississippi kind of sits over us. It's right near the state line. I'm not too far from it. We're in that top part of the bottom of Louisiana. As I've said, this is the most beautiful ride, and I love it. I didn't grow up too far from where I live now. Not really. However, where I grew up was not agricultural at all, not any part of it, and we were very close to Baton Rouge. So for me to live out here and be able to just take a little drive and see all these kind of things is something I just don't get tired of. I love it. And every time we head up towards Mount Hermon, it's kind of like it looks familiar to where I'm living now in my new house, but still it's almost like being transported a little bit back in time because there's still so many beautiful structures and barns and things like that. And I just love looking at all the crops. It's still very much a farming area. And you do have to slow down a lot sometimes because tractors are on the road and things like that. But I just love it. I'm getting into the town of Mount Hermon now. I'm getting into the town now. You got to pay attention because if you don't, you'll be out of it before you realize you were in it. I went by the hardware store when I was there today, and the sweetest woman runs the hardware store. She's very kind. And she was telling me that last night somebody hit her building and wanted to know if I had seen the damage. And I didn't even notice it because I had this camera in front of my face while I was pulling through town and didn't even see it. But if you'll look right here on the right, there it is. Her whole porch got hit. And I didn't even see it when I was coming through town. There was actually highway signs all over the ground. A car hit it, did some damage, and 3 people got hurt. So I said, my goodness, I guess New Year's celebrating, I don't know. But this is the town of Mount Hermon. Just pay attention. There's a little school down the road, and then you're pretty much out of it. But that's the blessed part of living there. I can tell you, if that's a community that I was fortunate enough to live in, I would be so happy. It's a very small, nice little community, and I love it. Here's the school, and once you pass the school, now I'm coming from the west, but once you pass the school, I'm looking for Highway 1055, and I'm going to turn left. You go about 3.5 miles out of town, and Smith Farm is going to be on your left. This property has been in their family since they received a land grant for it in 1892. And the present owner's grandfather turned it into a dairy farm in the 1930s and ran that till like the 1960s. And then it became transitioned over to a beef farm. And that's what it still remains today. And they raise Angus beef. And I think they raise their own sheep and everything too, because they sell a lot of lamb and stuff on their website. I'm fixing to be pulling into their driveway. I gave Walter a call. That's who you call to let him know you're about to come in the next few minutes, and he'll make sure that he's up at the house to give you your order. So I gave Walter a call, and then we pulled in, and this property was stunning. It's wintertime. I would love to see it in the spring or summer too, but it was stunning. They had a little sign when you drove up. So cute. I had to stop and take a picture of it. So cute. But going down their driveway was just amazing. I loved everything about it. It was a hilly driveway, which was gorgeous. All the trees everywhere, and it was just beautiful. I'm going to let you just take it in for just a second and look at the sights. It only took me a couple of minutes to pick up my food. He met us up there on a four-wheeler. They have big coolers. He got my meat out of the coolers. And then that was all there was to it. We were kind of heading out at that point. This is after we got our food. They had a beautiful lake, which I didn't even see coming in. And I just love that oak tree that they have hanging over the driveway. It's absolutely gorgeous. I couldn't film the cows coming in because they were on Richard's side of the car. So I wanted to get a little bit of footage of them leaving. This is the Black Angus cows. They are living a good life. Let me tell you that right now. If I had to be a cow, I'd want to live here. They are living the good life. Let me show you what I got. I ordered just regular 1-pound packs of ground meat. It was $5.99 per pack or per pound. But each pound that I got actually had a little more than that in it. So I'm grateful for that. And I only ordered 5, but when I unpacked everything when I got home, I had 6. I don't know if they made a mistake counting or if they just gave me that for a little lanyap. If so, I'm very appreciative. I thought that was very, very kind of them if they did that. So I ended up getting 6 packs of ground meat when I thought I was getting 5. So that was wonderful. The next thing I got was a flank steak, and they also called it a skirt steak on their website. It was $13, a little bit more than a pound for $13. I think what I'm going to do is save this and marinate it and use it to make some kind of fajitas out of one night. I think that's going to be good for like a Mexican dinner. The next item was beef shish kebab meat. Now it only came in 2-pound packs, so I got one and it was $15.98. So I guess that makes it $7.99 per pound. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this for shish kebabs. Not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I just wanted those big hunks of meat like that, and I'll figure out something good for it. The next thing was beef bacon. I think it was 1.12 pounds, and it was $11. Now, I really don't know what to do with it. I just thought it was unusual, so I got it. So if anybody has any recipes or they do something particular with beef bacon that is really good, let me know, because I have never bought this or cooked with it before, ever, that I remember. This is a beef shank ossobuco cut. It looks a little funny because I had it on the counter thawing, so it's got some condensation in it. I put the rest in my freezer until I was filming. But it's a big beef shank. I've made ossobuco before, and you basically just cook this really tender, shred it up, mince it up kind of, and then you use it in your ossobuco. So I'm going to try to do some of that again because I just haven't made it in a long, long time. This was $8.39 for this piece of ossobuco shank. This is another item I've never bought before because I've never seen it before, but it's ground beef with liver ground up with it. So it's a good way to get your organ meat in without knowing you're getting your organ meat in, because my husband will not eat just liver, fried liver and onions or anything like that. I do, but he doesn't. So this is a good way to just get those vitamins in there and serve him a hamburger. I think he'll go for it. It was $8 each, and I got 2 of them. So it was $8 a pound, and I got 2 of them. So I'm going to try this, and if it's more flavorful or if it's really good, I'm going to start buying this from now on. I hear about short ribs all the time, but I don't know if I've ever actually cooked any short ribs. So I'd appreciate any recipes on that as well. If you have any ideas of how I need to go about cooking these. They were $7, so I just thought I would try it. This was actually the last pack they had in stock. It weighed 1.42 pounds, I think, and I just went ahead and got it because I wanted to try it, but I didn't want to buy a bunch of it without knowing, but turns out that was like the end of their stock anyway, so I just tried it. The last item was, I got 3 of them. It was just shoulder steaks. Now, I buy shoulder roast all the time, but I've never bought shoulder steaks. But this is more mine and Richard's speed. I could take one of these, I could tenderize it out, flatten it, make it bigger, cut it in pieces, fry it, do whatever we want with it, or cook it in a variety of ways. But I think this is going to be the good size for us. These were only $2.50 each, so I only spent $7 for all 3 of these for 1.5 pounds of the meat. So that's not a bad price, and if it goes well, I'm going to continue to buy these too. I'm very happy with my haul from Smith Angus Farms. I ordered 15 items. I spent $108.82. If you divide that by 15, it's $7.25 per pack. However, since I ended up with an extra pack of ground meat, if you took that extra pack of ground meat and figured it in and divide 108.82 by 16, then it brings the cost down to $6.80 per pack. So $6.80 per pack for this fresh, good, well-fed, well-raised meat is a deal as far as I'm concerned. So as long as everything tastes good and it turns out okay, I will be buying from them hopefully for years to come. Well, I've got to get to cooking, getting something ready for supper. As you can see, the sun's going down. It's a beautiful evening. It's been a beautiful day. And I feel so blessed that I was able to go get that meat from Smith Angus Farms. So I hope that wherever you live, you found some resources to get you some food, some homegrown food, know the farmers, know the area, know the people, and you'll just never regret it. If you have to spend just a tiny bit more, it's well worth it. You'll never regret it. You'll make that community, you'll make those connections, and you'll have some resources to go to should times get tough. This is Lainey from Hilltop Home Place. Thank y'all so much, and y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.